Let me start off with a simple question. What is it that holds a tree in its place? What allows it to grow and thrive? Its roots, right? This brings me to the moot question. Do people have roots? And Jala Farmer once said, like a tree, you have to find your roots and then you can bend in the wind. One day, I was flipping through the collection of my family album. It had a lot of my childhood pictures. My first birthday, my first day at school, some ones with my relatives, just to list a few. This made me curious and led me to ask my mom, where are your childhood pictures? This unintended question led me on a journey which has completely shook me up. Whenever someone asks me, Tum kahan se ho? Where are you from? I've always answered that I'm a Kashmiri, but I never understood what it meant to be one. I time traveled back into the 80s and 90s with my mother. Agar fir 10 baar ruye zami ast, hami asto, hami asto, hami ast. If there is a paradise on earth, it is this, it is this, it is this. I started reminiscing the tales of my grandparents who lived in a joint family on the banks of the river Jhelum in the beautiful valley of Kashmir, with 3 to 4 generations staying under the same roof. The mornings would be an evident display of utter chaos. Kids would be running all around the house. Getting them ready for school was a task in itself. In the big houses, it was a routine to scream each other's names to gather everyone at one place, generally during breakfast and dinner, and this would take a whole eternity. Family holidays meant going to locations like Gulmarg, Pahalgam, idling away on the banks of the river, or going for a shikara ride on the Dal Lake. Their days couldn't end without plucking fresh apples, pears, cherries, and walnuts from trees. Family gatherings like festivals and marriages were like big parties. All cousins and distant family members showed up. Gossip sessions would build around different kinds of teas. It would start off with kahwa before a meal, followed by sheer chai, which is pink-colored and salty, and topped up with a regular tea in the evenings, which is popularly known as Lipton chai in Kashmiri households. During these sessions, a lot of tea would be spilled, but not literally. It does make one think why they left such a life to move to different parts of the world. Dodie Smith rightly said, the family, that dear octopus from whose tentacles we never quite escape, nor in our inmost hearts ever quite wish to. This was one topic which was never discussed in my home till now. When you move from a city, town, or village, you carry a part of it in your heart and mind. In our case, it was so sudden that no one was mentally prepared for it. A lot of us, like my mother, have no memories from their childhood as they never got the time to collect their belongings before they left. All the childhood memories got left behind along with these. A saying goes, how long is a night? Some of us have realized that it can be long enough to completely change your way of life. Imagine a tsunami. Everything about the place which is hit by it changes. The feeling was the same. For our community, the biggest challenge has been the loss of language and culture. Our community has survived and now rebuilding because of its focus in education. By education, I don't only mean being good in studies, but to also know more about oneself. Our community, though small, has been taking steps in order to revive our culture, in the hope that it is not lost to the next generation. Once a year, the Kashmiri Sabha holds gatherings where all of us come together to celebrate and commemorate our culture. These gatherings are rich mixes of cultural events, informative speeches, and language quizzes, which inspire the younger generation more and more every year to join the elders in the quest towards keeping this culture alive. I've started reading books about the history and culture of Kashmir. I've read about its important landmarks, the places of worship, such as the famous Shankaracharya temple, Kheer Bhavani and Sitar, the kind of people, the traditions, and the food. In this way, I connect myself strongly to my native place and strengthen my bonds with my roots. The Kashmiri language is a blend of Sanskrit and Persian, originally written in the Shada script. However, the script is no longer in use. We have lived most of our lives away from our homeland, and as a result, we were unable to speak our mother tongue fluently. Efforts from my parents to keep teaching me words in our mother tongue through prayers and poems are an ongoing thing at my home. A few years back, I went to an aunt's wedding. It was a proper Kashmiri style wedding and my first time witnessing one. I enjoyed myself thoroughly, asking my mom and dad about each and every ritual and festivity and taking active part in them. This was a great way for me to learn more about my roots and its rich history and culture. We have a lot of native festivals. We would celebrate even the smallest festival or ritual with the whole family, the main festival being Herat, Mahashivratri. But now that everyone is scattered, it is not possible for us to reunite every time and celebrate them with the same kind of enthusiasm as before. That magic touch of togetherness and oneness with the family and the neighborhood is gone. I try my best to read about the tales behind each festival and involve myself in them. The cuisines prepared in my house are shared with our non-Kashmiri friends. This is a flavorful way to spread our culture in other households. Some of the famous mouth-watering cuisines are damalu, rogan josh, yakni, and so on. There are also some exotic vegetables such as the lotus stem, kohlrabi, collard greens, and many more. We eagerly wait for the winters because that is the only time we get to relish these vegetables here in Vadodara. I've always been fascinated by my friends who can speak in their mother tongue so fluently and effortlessly. I've always wanted to do the same. They often ask me to speak something in Kashmiri, and the best I can do is say a few common phrases such as Namaskar Mara to greet elders or Tsekyachi Nav, what is your name? My mom and I often use Kashmiri as our code language whenever we do not like something while shopping. Yichunujan, Paknerav. This isn't great, let's go. Or to scold me when I slouch. Fyok tavsyod, don't slouch. This journey has taught me one lesson. The love, the bonding, the richness brought to you by your mother tongue cannot be replaced by any other language. As Indians, we tend to be fascinated by someone who can speak fluent English, seeing it as a sign of intelligence. I feel the real intelligence lies in knowing your language, knowing your culture, and knowing your values. This is a journey of my self-discovery, a never-ending journey which I have embarked upon with a desire to discover my roots, discover my homeland, and to discover myself. I no longer fear the wind because I have found my roots. Thank you.